March, where the madness on the court takes over. And there's no one better than PJ Glasser and Ben Stevens to guide you through bracket season. This is Game Day Garage, the Quad.
Happy Selection Sunday. Oh, one of the best days of the year. PJ Glasser and Ben Stevens here with you. This is the Quad presented by Game Day Garage. As you can see, got a bracket. We're ready to roll. We're with you for the next hour. We'll be filling in the teams as we go, getting my instant reaction, Ben's instant reaction as we fill out our bracket and field our teams of 68. Ben, great to be with you, my friend. One of my favorite days of the year. I know it's one of your favorite days of the year as well. As we're getting ready to get the bracket, what to you is the biggest storyline that you're looking forward to over the next 30 minutes?
PJ, first off, very happy to be with you here on what feels like a national holiday. It is Selection Sunday. And as we speak, the field of 68 for the 2026 men's NCAA tournament is starting to be unveiled. The garage looks fantastic. The bracket you have next to you looks even more official than the one I am watching on the selection show as we speak. We'll give you our instantaneous reaction to who is in, on what seed they reside, and how the path lays out to a Final Four berth in Indianapolis on that opening weekend of April there in Lucas Oil Stadium. PJ, I'll tell you this, I'm really excited to see what that one line looks like. I feel like it's pretty secure at this point as the committee has just unveiled Duke, the #1 overall seed, Michigan, the loser of the Big Ten tournament title game just moments ago against Purdue, probably that second team on the one line, followed by Arizona and Florida. And PJ, that's the main story for me entering the 2026 Big Dance. Will it be as chalky as it was a season ago for just the second time since seeding began in 1979? We saw all four #1 seeds reach the Final Four.
It's going to be awesome, Ben. We already got the bracket. I mean, they get right into it. I absolutely love it. Duke is going to be the 1 seed in the East region. No surprise there, the #1 overall seed. Siena, Jerry McNamara, who has done a great job with Siena this season. They're going to be the 16. 8 and 9 games is going to be a good one. Big 10 and Big 12, Ohio State, TCU. And then the Big East champion, St. John's and Rick Pitino, going to be the 5 seed in the East region. Waiting to see who they get in the 12. It's going to be Northern Iowa. That's going to be a really good matchup. Ben, I'm interested to see who the 4 is because we're here in D.C. I'm a Bama grad. The Sweet 16 is in D.C. this year in the East region. I'm hoping they put the Tide as the 4 seed against in the Duke region. We'll see what they do. They go with Kansas instead.
Sorry, Pete.
So you got Rick Pitino and Bill Self in the 4-5. Ooh, got some coaching legend.
It's a great 4-5 split right there. I think Duke is probably looking at the bottom half of their portion of the bracket and saying, okay, this is a Kansas team that can get really hot. This is a St. John's team that just won the Big East tournament regular season and tournament title for a second consecutive year. We are awaiting who the 2 seed is in the East region, about to be revealed in just a matter of moments. But PJ, you mentioned that 5-12 matchup. Everybody loves a Cinderella story. Everybody loves to pick the 12 seed that is going to pull the upset in the round of 64. We know that Northern Iowa can do just that. Might we see a UNI Kansas round of 32 matchup like the good days of Ali Faroukmanesh, making a triple when it was ill-advised and continuing his March legendary status? And PJ, I'll deliver a bit of breaking news to you. Playing on Friday in Philadelphia, the 2 seed in the East region, in Duke's region as the #1 overall seed, Connecticut, who has won 2 national championships in the last 3 years. I'm not sure John Shire is sending any edible arrangements to the selection committee and Dan Gavin at the moment.
I mean, Ben, like immediately to me, that's what sticks out in this region is how good the coaching is, right?
Yeah.
You got Shire, who's a stud. You got Pitino. You got Bill Self. You got Izzo in Michigan State. And as you mentioned, we get Dan Hurley and Connecticut as the 2 seed. So this time of year, we all talk about it. Coaching matters. Hurley's won 2 of these things. Izzo's made a bunch of Final Fours. He's won a title. Bill Self's got 2. Patino's got a couple. Just some really good coaches in this region. So that to me is definitely what sticks out. I am surprised. I think that they I'm surprised. I think that they put St. John's at a 5, to be honest. I thought maybe they get a 4, especially after winning the Big East. I'm also surprised, Ben, that they put St. John's and UConn in the same region. Obviously, far and away the two best Big East teams, right? Not separating them. I think that's interesting that they're in the East region as well.
And more than likely, PJ, there is one other Big East team in this field of 68. So it's a great point by you in this East region. You mentioned it. This will be the region of coaching. John Shire not quite there just yet, but he is the head coach of a very successful number 1 overall seed in Duke. Blue Devils are back on the one line for a second consecutive year under Shire. But you've got Rick Pitino, a Hall of Famer. Bill Self, if he's not already in the Hall of Fame, soon to be in the Hall of Fame. Tom Izzo, a Hall of Famer. And Dan Hurley, who's won 2 national championships in the last 3 seasons. That is a stacked East region bracket. Some names to know, I think, from outside the top that you would look at. You look at some of those Dragon Slayers from the Big 12, PJ. TCU has my favorite resume of any of the teams that we'll see in the Big Dance this year. They've got a win against They've got a win over Wisconsin. They've got a win against Iowa State. They've got a road win in Lubbock against Texas Tech. They also have a season opening loss to a team like New Orleans, and they got beat by Colorado by 26 on the road in Big 12 play as well. But TCU as the 9 seed matches up against Ohio State, who got hot at the right time to make sure there was no sweating on Selection Sunday for Jake Diebler and his Buckeyes. TCU can be a Dragon Slayer, as has UCF this year. They're the 10 seed taking on Mick Cronin and UCLA, the 7 seed in the East region. That is a very compelling round of 64 beginning.
Certainly is. We also have the third member of our team, Ian Sachs, joining us now. SB Nation Mid-Major Madness. Give Ian a follow on X at Ian R. Sachs. Ian, great to have you along with Ben and I on Selection Sunday. Your instant reaction to the unveiling of the East region. What are your big takeaways?
Well, exactly what Ben said just a minute ago about how this is the region of coaching. When you look at all the names that we have in this region, sign me up for a 4-5 matchup in the second round. Bill Self and Rick Pitino. Couple of national champions right there matching up. And it is surprising that we have 2 Big East teams in this field. The 2 best Big East teams. We could see UConn and St. John's round 4 to go to the Final Four. How insane would that be?
Now, Ian, I know you're based out there. Oh, sorry, Ben. I was just going to ask you. I know you're based out there in North Dakota. We got NDSU playing in the 3-14 against Michigan State. What should people know about the season that the Bison are having this year?
The Bison have been one of the most balanced teams that you'll see in any team in this field. They don't have any one player that's going to stand out and drop 40 in a game, but they have so many players that can go 18, then 15, then 12, then 8, that just so deep down the roster. The last time they won the Summit League was 2020. They didn't get a chance to go dancing. So you know that they've been waiting for this day for a while. They're going to look to make the most of it, but they have an insanely tough draw in a Michigan State team that is one of the best teams in arguably the best conference in the Big Ten.
Some really good defensive talent in this side of the bracket, Ian. When you look up and down the efficiency numbers on that side of the floor, Kansas, UConn, Michigan State. We saw the ferocity of the Johnnies in the Big East tournament title game. There's also a really good defense there in Northern Iowa. And we know Ben Jacobson has led the Panthers to success in the Big Dance in years past. I love that opening round 5-12 game between Rick Pitino and his Johnnies against UNI. If you're looking at the mid-major level and you're looking to pick one of those first-round upsets, as everybody will as they start to fill out the bracket tonight, do you think Northern Iowa is capable of knocking off St. John's and Rick Pitino?
100%, because you think about, one, you always look at those 5-12s, right? That's always one of the best upset values that you can find. And Northern Iowa is a team that got really hot. They won Arch Madness as the 5 seed. The problem is that they're playing now a St. John's team who's found its stride, and by many accounts was a preseason top 5 team. They didn't look that way the first 2 months of the season. They're playing that way the last 2.5 months of the season. So it all depends on what St. John's team is going to show up. Do we have the non-conference St. John's team that really struggled out of the gate, or the St. John's team that just won its second straight Big East tournament championship?
I love it. Another thing, guys, about this region, I really like a lot of these mid-majors. Like Furman's a team I really like. They've been hurt all year, but they have the 5th tallest team in college basketball. For a mid-major, you never see that. So I think that could be a tricky game for UConn to deal with. You guys were talking about Northern Iowa. Ian, you brought up North Dakota State as well. I liked both of those teams. In Siena, the job that Jerry McNamara has done, they play really good defense. So I think you got some good mid-majors. That's going to be a fun East region. As now we get the unveiling of the West region, in Arizona. No surprise there, is going to be your number 1. Put them in the bracket. So we'll wait to see who comes out here in the West region. We got LIU, who, for people that follow college basketball, know all about the student section. That's right.
Fins up. Yes, sir.
Welcome to the tank. Listen, what they have done for this LIU program, the first time in the Sharks era that they are playing in the NCAA tournament, a very experienced team at that level, as is a couple of teams that you just mentioned, PJ and Furman. A lot of experience at the mid-major level, starting to find their groove as they did in winning said conference tournament. We got the West region starting to be unveiled. Arizona is the 1 seed in this portion of the bracket. The 8-9, Villanova, Utah State. Ian, how about this 5-12 matchup they just revealed?
This is the one that I have my eye on. High Point dancing for a 2nd straight season, matching up against Wisconsin. I love the Panthers for the 12-5 upset, but we did skip one game right there in the 8-9, Villanova and Utah State. Yeah. No surprise that Utah State's in an 8-9 once again. I'm a little bit surprised that Villanova got an 8 seed, though.
Yeah. And it's also very interesting. Utah State, more than likely, unless we see something crazy. By the way, first of our first 4 games, the 11 seeds in the West region, Texas and NC State. The Longhorns from ESPN's Joe Lunardi, as of this selection Sunday, were his final team into the field of 68. So that's our first 4 matchup to earn the right to be the 11 seed in the West region. But Ian, you were talking about it. Utah State as that 9 seed in the West region. Jerry Calhoun and the Aggies, sensational in claiming the Mountain West Conference Championship and a victory over SDSU. We're probably only going to see that one team, being Utah State, the conference champs, out of the Mountain West, revealed in this bracket. A conference that has sent at least 4 programs to the Big Dance in each of the previous 4 years. Multiple bids out of the Mountain West as a league every season for the past 7 NCAA tournaments. Probably just the one in Utah State. Missouri, a 10 seed, as they just unveiled. Missouri's a 10 seed playing in St. Louis on Friday against Miami. That is going to be as home court of an advantage as you will see in a neutral site game in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, that, and also remember, Houston could be playing in Houston in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. That's still on the table. We'll see if the Cougars can get there, but a very favorable draw, as you mentioned, Ben, with Missouri playing in St. Louis in the first round. And you really have to feel bad for Purdue, who's the 2 seed there, that they might have to play Missouri in St. Louis in the second round, and yet they're the higher seed by 8 seeds.
Queens, the 15 seed that Purdue draws, the first NCAA tournament for Queens now in the Big Dance. I cannot wait for that 5-12 matchup in Portland on Thursday, Wisconsin and High Point. It might be one of the final games on the first day of the NCAA tournament, and it's going to feature a crap ton of points. We all saw Arkansas play really well in the SEC tournament title game just a few hours ago this afternoon. They draw the 4 seed in the West region. They take on a Hawaii team that is in the Big Dance for the first time in a decade, the first appearance for the Bows since 2016, the winners of the Big West tournament title. PJ, how is the bracket looking inside the garage? I feel like you've been really on top of it and filling out everything. Are we fully up to date? Is the West?
We're doing good. And you know what? The West was the region, Ben, that I was dreading because I would have to go over here and write some scribble. Right. But we figured it out. We're all good. I really like this draw for Arizona, you guys. We were just talking about how loaded the East region is. I think Arizona is in really good shape. I do like Gonzaga more than most. Arkansas, I think, is going to be popular after they just won the SEC tournament. But you guys know this time of the year, right? With everybody watching in March, it's usually a good idea to fade some of these tournament champions. And they just got the Big Ten champ. They just got the SEC champ. You got Gonzaga, who's the WWC champ, WCC. Now, obviously, Arizona is the Big Ten champ as well. And Wisconsin's going to be that trendy team that everybody loves. I'm with Ian. That's going to be my first upset, is High Point over Wisconsin. If you like offensive basketball, that is going to be the game for you. But I think the ball pressure of High Point is really going to give Wisconsin's guards difficulty. Boyd and Blackburn are as good as it gets, but that's going to be a tough matchup. So I do like High Point. And I also can't wait to see all the people that take Hawaii over Arkansas because of how much they love to vacation there. That's going to be awesome. And that'll probably be an upset that I don't have, but I'm sure a lot of other people will. And then how about NC State, fellas? They put them, I know you were talking about that. We obviously wait to see who these bubble teams are. Does that make us nervous about Miami of Ohio, or do we feel like they're going to be a 10 or 11 seed safely? And what are your thoughts there?
Ian, take it away.
Well, the way that I look at Miami of Ohio approaching Selection Sunday today is, if Miami of Ohio does not get in, that is the single biggest headline out of the whole entire field. Out of all of Selection Sunday, it's that a team that went undefeated in the regular season is not in the big dance.
Yep.
The selection committee does not want that headline. They do not want the biggest storyline out of Selection Sunday is the team that they left out. What more does Miami of Ohio have to do? Nothing.
Yeah.
You won every single game that you played this season in the regular season. No other team can say that. The only other team that can say that in men's or women's Division I college basketball is UConn. Oh, that's right. The 12-time national champion UConn Huskies. So what Miami of Ohio did this year, historic. They need to be in. There's no way they're getting left out.
Completely agree with you, Ian. If you leave out a team that played 31 regular season games, regardless of what you think of the quality of that schedule, and won all 31 regular season games, and they do not make the NCAA tournament, then let's not play a regular season at the mid-major level. You can just fast forward to the conference tournament, and we'll play 5 games in 5 days and select your neutral site. It would demean and diminish everything that is great about college basketball, because there's 365 Division I men's college basketball programs spanning across 31 different conferences around this great country. You are never going to see scheduling balance. You are never going to see pure parity, even in these own leagues, let alone across 365 teams in 31 conferences. I do think Miami, Ohio is going to be okay. And PJ, to your point, I think the fact that it's Texas and NC State in a first 4 spot in Dayton kind of shows me, I would be shocked. It would show me that Miami might be on the 10 line, not having to play in Dayton and one of those last buys, I should say, first round buys into the NCAA tournament.
I think that's a good point, Ben. Also, I think with all the SEC teams that we've had on the bubble, I think if you're Auburn, I think if you're Oklahoma, I think if you're Missouri, you're sweating a little bit, right? Texas was one of those, like, a lot of bracketologists truly had them as the last team in the field. So to see the Longhorn gets in, certainly all those SEC teams, I think are definitely sweating right now. But yeah, fellas, we're halfway home with this bracket right now. We know, obviously, Michigan's going to be another one of the 1 seeds. Yep. We all assume Florida is going to be as well. That East region, again, with all the coaching in there, it's going to be loaded. The West, I feel really good about Arizona. I think that they're, in good shape to at least get to the Elite 8. I think the bottom half of that region, with Gonzaga, with Purdue, Miami, I think could be a potential sleeper. I think that could get interesting. But Arizona being out west with the way that they're playing right now feels like Ian, the Wildcats are in good shape as of now. Any other upsets, Ian, that you were eyeing? We talked about the High Point one. Could you see the winner of that playing game taking down an injured BYU team? Do you think maybe Hawaii has a chance against Arkansas? Any other potential upsets sticking out?
Yeah, I definitely like that potential Hawaii one. I was thinking about picking them as an upset. Don't love the draw against Arkansas, though. They're playing their best basketball as of now, winning the SEC today. But also looking at that, you always see a first 4 team, almost always. I think last year might have been the first year that we did not see a first 4 team advance to the round of 32. So those are always sleeper teams that you want to try to maybe keep an eye on to pick in the first round. One thing with the West before we get to our next region, though, we could see an Elite Eight matchup of Arizona and Gonzaga. Tommy Lloyd against Mark Few.
Yeah.
Storyline right there. Should they each win 3 games and get to the regional final?
Listen, PJ, you and I were on a show for VSiN earlier today and setting the stage for Selection Sunday. At different points of the program, both you and I said our national championship pick right here, right now on First Blush is Arizona. That will be my pick. And if you're looking at this bracket based on what we saw in the East region and what's happening in the West region, I love how things lay out for Tommy Lloyd and the Cats. I think this team, with what they do defensively, that's where it started. They are kind of, this is going to sound bad, spoiler or upset proof. Of course, nothing is upset proof in a tournament and a month defined for its madness, but they do not rely on the three. They are incredibly efficient in the paint. 57.5% of their points come from 2-point range this year. That's top 10 in the country. I love the way the West region lines up for Arizona to get to Indianapolis in a Final Four spot. I would just say this about the Wisconsin High Point game. It's going to be awesome. PJ, you mentioned the ferocity defensively, 5th best turnover team in the country, and forcing those mishaps. That is the Panthers. Wisconsin is the best team in the Big Ten at not turning the basketball over. The 3 ball's got to go for the Badgers, as we well know, in the big dance. If they do, and they were to perhaps see Arizona in that second weekend in the Sweet 16 in the West region, that would be a really compelling game, because if Wisconsin is hot, does Arizona have the offensive firepower if they have to play from a deficit? My guess would still be yes, but that's a pretty good matchup where Wisconsin might be able to play some spoiler. We are getting the Midwest region. Michigan is the 1 seed. They'll take on the winner of a play-in game between UMBC and Howard. We saw Georgia as the 8, St. Louis as the 9, and then they just flipped it to the bottom half of the bracket. But an interesting spot for Michigan as the 1 seed in the Midwest region, drawing that 8-9 split. Oh, and there it is. I'll break some news to all of us. Miami, Ohio is in the NCAA tournament. The Red Hawks, after a perfect and unblemished 31-0 regular season, have reached the big dance. However, they are in a play-in game in the first 4 in Dayton against SMU to be the 11 seed in the Midwest region. Ian, what do you think of that? Sending the Red Hawks to Dayton after a perfect 31-0 start to this college basketball regular season.
As a mid-major guy, it breaks my heart. What else do you have to do going 31-0 in the regular season? Sure, you lost your quarterfinal game to UMass, but keep in mind, Miami now goes to the first 4, so they have a much better chance at, say, winning their quote-unquote first NCAA tournament game that they play this season. And it's in Dayton, in Ohio, right in their backyard.
Yeah.
Favorable draw there. The problem is that they match up against an SMU team that has been streaky this year, but has, at their peak, been very good this year. Boopy Miller for the Mustangs, an incredible player. And keep in mind, one more thing on Miami of Ohio. They're playing without their starting point guard for just about this entire run. They lost their starting point guard to injury back in December, and yet they still went undefeated. Just incredible what they've done this year. Now they're an 11 seed. They get to prove themselves in the big dance. Everyone's saying, well, look at their strength of record. Look at all of this. They're in the dance. Now it's time to put up or shut up. They're going to show everyone just why they went 31-0 in the regular season.
And Ian, you said it. Last year was just the second time since the first 4 was introduced consistently in 2011 that we did not see a team victorious in Dayton also win a round of 64 game. It was the first time since 2019. Miami, Ohio, who has won a lot of games this year against an SMU team that's going to get BJ Edwards back for that playing game, one of the other great scorers for Andy Anfield and the Stangs. If Miami can prove that they can win this basketball game, when they get to be that 11 seed, the 6th seed, I believe, if I go back here, do we see the 6th seed is Tennessee? Interesting. That would be the opening round of 64 game between the Vols and potentially the winner of the Red Hawks and the Mustangs. Tennessee, of course, it's Rick Barnes basketball. They are going to play slow. They are going to be great defensively, and they are great at crashing the offensive glass. It would be a very tough matchup, I think, for Miami, but could be for some fun if they are able to win in Dayton. PJ, what are you seeing so far in the Midwest region?
Yeah. Ooh. You know, as a Bama fan, I'm scared of that Hofstra matchup. You guys, they got 2 really good guards. That's going to be a high-level game. I'm looking forward to that one. Iowa State and Virginia potentially meeting in the Sweet 16, I think is an awesome matchup. Miami of Ohio, thank God they did the right thing. They put them in, really not a surprise. They put them in the first four, make that event against Andy Enfield and SMU. I think they should win that game. How about they put both the MAC teams in the same region, right? We're talking about that earlier with St. John's and UConn in the same region. I mean, God forbid if we got those two teams in the Elite Eight, could you ever imagine? Would it be wild? Love the fact Santa Clara was in the field. I mean, pretty much no debate that they would be, but they could be a dangerous 10 seed as well. I think it's a really, really solid region. Does set up pretty good for Michigan, but Iowa State, I think we all know if they play to their capability, they're dangerous. Ryan Odom, Virginia, a very good team as well. So I think the Midwest is going to be a lot of fun. Ian, I know we have to let you go in a little bit. You're going to have the women's selection show after us reacting to that. What do you think is the big storyline there that we need to know about the women's bracket?
I think it's how it all shapes out with the SEC teams, because it seems pretty clear cut. UConn as the number 1 overall seed, UCLA as the number 2. But how does the selection committee view South Carolina, Texas, Vanderbilt, all three of them? Where does LSU fall? They're a team that obviously can win a national championship. They did it just a couple of years ago. It'll be interesting to see how all of those SEC teams shake out in the bracket.
Love it, man. It's going to be awesome. Busy day for you. I mean, they put both of them together for you. Usually they do the women on Monday, but they put them today on Sunday. So that should be great. All right. So we got the final region, the South region, which they'll announce after commercial break. Are you guys, Ben? I mean, we would think it's going to be Florida, right? Florida, the 1, Houston, the 2 seed. We would assume.
Yeah, which if they do see each other in the Elite Eight, which was very much the case last year of seeing those cream rise to the crop as we kept going through the end of this, the cream rise to the top, I should say, that would be a rematch of the national championship game in the South Regional Final as well. So that could be a lot of fun. Midwest region, I've got my eyes on a lot of double-digit seeds. And based on last year, that might be a faulty game. But based on a tournament that we know has madness, Akron is the 12 against the Texas Tech team that doesn't have JT Toppin. I still believe in the Red Raiders, but that's going to be a very fun game. PJ, you mentioned the pride of Long Island taking on the Crimson Tide and Alabama. I love what this Hofstra team has with the CAA Player of the Year in Cruz Davis. Love what Speedy Claxton has done with Hofstra. I'm not saying Virginia gets plucked off in the round of 64. I'm not a big believer in the Who's this year. I love Ryan Odom as a coach. I love his system. I love how he builds things efficiently, balanced on both sides of the floor. I don't know if Wright State's the team to knock them out in the round of 64, but if Virginia does advance, and again, it's either Tennessee, Miami, Ohio, SMU in the round of 32, I'm not sure I'm seeing the Who's get out of the first weekend. And speaking of double-digit seeds that I'll be picking to win that first round game, I love Herb Sendek and Santa Clara against Kentucky in that 7-10 split. That is going to be an awesome, awesome game coming up on Friday. I love the Broncos, veteran experience. I think they give Mark Pope and his Cats a really good run in the opening round.
That's a great call from you, Ben. I love what Herb Sendek has done with this Bronco team. First time dancing since Steve Nash was playing for Santa Clara. So it goes back a ways. This is a program that has been one of the top in the WCC, but overshadowed by Gonzaga and St. Mary's. BYU when they were in the WCC. San Francisco has broken through a couple of times. So I love that the Broncos are back in the big dance and that we have a 3-bid WCC. Expect to see St. Mary's in this final region as well.
A 3-bid WCC, a multiple bid Mid-American Conference, and a multiple bid A10 conference as well. It should be a beautiful 2026 men's NCAA tournament.
Certainly should. Ian, do we have to let you run, or can you stick around for the South region with us?
I think I've got just enough time to see how this final region shakes out.
Excellent. All right, we'll keep you on as we get the final. Ben, I also love your Santa Clara call, and I love the fact that the committee put them against Kentucky. Do you guys remember the year when we got Murray State and San Francisco in that 7-10 game? It's like you don't want to see those two teams against each other. You want to see them playing the big boys. So the fact that Santa Clara gets one of the Blue Bloods, I think, is going to be awesome. Really looking forward to that game. Yeah, we got some fun first round matchups. Obviously, Miami of Ohio in the first four will be great. Texas Tech and like you guys said, the 5-12, 4-13 games should be really good as they're ready to announce the South region. And we get our final 16 teams in this year's field of 68. And no surprise, it is the Florida Gators, the number one seed. Ben, I'll start with you. Any concern about Florida? They're playing so well going into the SEC tournament. That loss to Vandy, did it change your perception on the Gators at all?
No, not because of the result, PJ. If you have a team that has won 12 consecutive games, get plucked off in their conference semifinal matchup against a really good Vandy team that was just revealed on the 5 line as well for Thursday in Oklahoma City against McNeese. That's a really good 5-12 game. All the 5-12 games are very, very intriguing that we have seen play out through the bracket. No, I'm not concerned, PJ, by Florida at all. I expect the reigning national champs to make a deep run in this NCAA tournament. The only reason that I move Florida out of consideration to defend as a national champ is the weirdest trend, perhaps a coincidence, but it can't be a coincidence if it's been going on for 20 consecutive years, is having a rank in the top 12 of the AP poll during week number 6. And because of Florida's gauntlet in non-conference play and dropping 4 of those games by a combined 15 points, but dropping those 4 games, they were ranked 18th, PJ, in the AP poll in week number 6. So outside of the top 12. Of course, that's just winning a national championship, not seeing the Elite 8 or getting to the Final 4. But that's the only reason I have Florida a peg behind the 3 teams that join them on the 1 line, Duke, Michigan, and Arizona.
Completely agree with you. I always look back at that 1 week in the AP poll and say, okay, when I'm filling out my bracket, I may have my thoughts about where I might want to go, but I always go back to double check that. It's an insane, crazy little quirk in college basketball, but that's why we love college basketball, right?
Indeed. Also, should be noted, as they go through the South region, in Greenville, South Carolina on Thursday, North Carolina, sans Caleb Wilson, of course, draws the 11 seed of VCU. And we have seen what Phil Martelli Jr. has led for the Rams without Caleb Wilson in this spot. Still a very talented team. Seth Trimble, Henry Vasar, a lot to like for the Heels. I love VCU in that spot. Illinois will get to see Fran McCaffrey once again as they're the 3 seed taking on Penn. Florida in a good spot. And I should mention, as they are near and dear to my heart, guys, Nebraska draws the 4 seed in the South region. They will head to Oklahoma City. And anytime you talk about the Cornhuskers, it is trying to go somewhere their program never has. Win a game in the NCAA tournament for the first time ever. The Huskers, with doing that, if they do, will win their 27th game of the season, which would also be a program record. Who was the 13 that Nebraska drew?
Troy.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
The men of Troy.
No.
And that is going to be my biggest bet. That is going to be my biggest bet of round 1 because we all know Nebraska is not going to make that game easy. That will be a sweat right down to the very end.
Troy, a very, very battle-tested mid-major. Scott Cross is one of the best coaches at that level. All right, Nebraska. There you go. You want to make program history, you got to beat a really battle-tested Troy team, the champions of the Sun Belt, the 1 seed in that conference, and winning the gauntlet. One thing that has plagued Nebraska all year long, because they will let you shoot the 3. If that opposition does it efficiently, that's where things get a little bit concerned. 3-point rate for the Trojans, 45.6% of their field goal tries come from deep. They only hit at about a 33% clip. But again, guys, that could be an area to pay attention to for Nebraska. St. Mary's just revealed, by the way, they are the 7 seed, also playing in Oklahoma City in that South region. They'll get a little taste of buckyball. 2 very opposing styles. Randy Bennett and his Gales, slow, contrived against Bucky McMillan and his Aggies. They press the crap out of you for all 40 minutes, and they play as fast as humanly possible. What do you think of that matchup being the 7-10 in the South region?
I don't know. Well, easy breakdown. If the game's in the 60s, credit to the Gales, and they should be in good business. The game's played in the 80s and 90s, buckyball advancing. That's my simple breakdown of it. It's a 25-point difference right there, but it's all a matter of tempo and style of who can dominate that one.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, Ian, before we let you go, we have the bracket. Instant gut reaction, your Final Four, your national champion. What do you got?
Okay, my national champion, I've had my eye on them ever since the non-conference Michigan. The way that they rolled through everyone in the non-conference, it was UConn 2 years ago level. I've had my eye on them. I've said I'm picking them to win the national championship ever since mid-December with what they did, dominating everyone. That's the easiest pick for me in the bracket. I don't want to go all 4 1 seeds because it almost never works out that way, even though it did last year. So I'm looking at Duke. Can they get picked off? That's the toughest region, and yet they're the overall number 1 seed. Look at maybe one of the Big East teams out of there, St. John's or UConn coming out of the East. I have to sit down really and kind of narrow it down. I like Houston, and I don't love this Arizona team, even though the bracket shapes out really well for them. I feel like I always overpick on them, so I'm leery to pick Tommy Lloyd and the Wildcats. I'm going to say maybe Iowa State coming out of there. Give me Duke because of what the Boozer brothers can do. And that final region, was it Houston? Let me go with Houston, knocking off Florida, getting that revenge in the Elite Eight. And then give me Houston going runner-up once again, falling to Michigan in the national championship.
Houston, Michigan. Absolutely love it. Ian Sachs, give him a follow on X at Ian R. Sachs, SB Nation, Mid-Major Madness, and he guys will have you covered for the women's selection special coming up as well. Ian, appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the madness.
Love it, guys. Best time of the year is here. That's all I can say. It was fun talking brackets with you, and I'm sure we'll be on much more over the next 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Ian
Great
Sachs,
stuff,
a lot of fun. All right, Ben, we got about 20, 25 minutes left or so. We got the bracket, and now the exciting part happens, right? Because you and I both know the last couple months or so, you do all these shows and these hits, and people want to know who are the Final Four teams. And I'm like, well, I mean, I can give you 4, but 3 of them might end up in the same region, right? So now we know that won't happen. We can pick our teams that we like. And it's a great exercise because you know what? The gut bracket will probably do better than the bracket where we sit down, we analyze, and we study. So I'm going to ask you for your gut bracket right now. You're going to be in blue pen. I'm going to be in red pen. We'll go through the field of 68, and we will get Ben Stevens' gut reaction bracket. So here we go. We'll start with the top seed, Duke against Siena. I'm assuming you like Duke to advance there.
I love the Saints. I love Jerry McNamara. He is one of the great that Syracuse has ever seen. Give me Duke, of course, in that game, PJ.
TCU and Ohio State, the Buckeyes, the 8, the Horned Frogs, the 9. Who do you like in that game?
Let's go TCU. I think they're a very, very fun team, and they can be very upset-minded. I like TCU.
St. John's in Northern Iowa in the 5-12. What's the pick there?
I worry about the length and physicality of guys like Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins against this Northern Iowa team, but defense paramount. PJ, let's go with the 12. Give me the Panthers.
Ooh, Ben's going with the first upset. UNI. Okay, what about Kansas and Cal Baptist in the 4-13?
CBU and Dom Daniels gave us one of the great conference championship games late on a Saturday night, their first appearance in the NCAA tournament. I already said this earlier today. I know whatever I decide to do with Kansas, however far I have them going in the bracket, it will be the wrong decision. If I put them in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 right now, PJ, they're losing to CBU in that opening round game. But I'm going to trust Bill Self. Give me Kansas in the opening round.
All right, we're going with KU to get by Cal Baptist. Louisville and South Florida, Ben, in the 6-11. From an entertainment value, from an eye test, this game is going to have some kind of pace to it, up and down. I can't wait to see what the total opens up at. What's your pick in that game?
Same spot as you, PJ. I cannot wait to see what that total is. I'm going to get in early. I'm going to bet the over. Give me USF. I love what Brian Hodgson has done this year with the Bulls. A record-setting season, their first appearance in the NCAA tournament since 2012. Give me South Florida.
I love, too, Ben, that we're already starting to get lines on some of these games. I was waiting to see if they dropped the total on that game yet. They have not.
Just spreads. Just spreads so far, PJ. 7.5 point number in favor of the Cards, but I like South Florida still.
We got in the 3-14 Michigan State against North Dakota State. You like Izzo and Sparty to advance?
I'm going to take MSU knocking off NDSU. I believe the Spartans actually have a pretty good draw here. You want me to just to fire through, give me the pick, and then we'll go, just so we can get both of ours in?
Please do. What do you got? Yeah.
All right. Let's go UCLA over UCF. We're going to have UConn beat Furman.
Yep.
Do we want to stay? We'll stay in the East region, and then we'll go
Stay
everywhere
in the
else.
East.
Yeah.
Yep.
Duke over TCU.
Okay.
Kansas, Northern Iowa. That would be awesome now, as I'm just seeing it here in my own round of 32. Give me KU.
Okay.
Michigan State beats South Florida.
Okay.
UCLA beats UConn.
Ooh.
You might say that's Big Ten bias, but the Bruins have only been a Big Ten team for 2 seasons. So you know what? Whatever. And then we're going to go Duke over Kansas in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Michigan State gets its revenge from the Big Ten tournament against Michigan State, or against UCLA, I should say.
Okay.
Elite 8 game, Michigan State Duke draws back some thoughts of, was it 2019 when they beat Zion Williamson? Oh, yes, it was. But Duke will win it here to advance to the Final Four.
All right. So one seed is through for Ben as we move to the South region. Ben, run through your games there. What do you like?
Florida.
Yep.
Clemson and Iowa, PJ. As much as we love the over in that game between USF and Louisville, I love the under in the Tigers and the Hawks. Give me Iowa.
Okay.
Ooh, Vandy and McNeese. I feel like McNeese is going to be a trendy 12 pick. I can't go all chalk, can I? Give me Vanderbilt. Give me Vanderbilt over the Pokes.
Okay.
I cannot betray my heart and where it lies.
You can't do
Nebraska,
it. You can't
Nebraska,
do it. You can't. You can't.
The Cornhuskers win their first ever
Yeah.
game in the NCAA tournament in program history.
Okay.
Now we go
Then
VCU.
Yep.
over
UNC,
UNC.
VCU.
Yeah, VCU over UNC. Love it.
Love that.
Illinois survives Penn. I'm going to go with Illinois.
Okay.
Man, St. Mary's and A&M. That is, as Ian laid out, it's very simple. It's a battle of tempos. It's a battle of styles. Who wins it? I'll trust St. Mary's.
Okay.
And then Houston over Idaho.
All right.
And-
Round of
and then-
32. Florida, Iowa.
Let's go Florida.
Okay.
Give me Nebraska.
Yep.
Then we're going to go Illinois. Although I do
Okay.
think VCU could be a double-digit seed that makes a Sweet
Hey,
16
they
run.
I agree.
I like Illinois just because I've liked Illinois all year, but their inability to close out games and how things have looked defensively at times has been a little bit confounding. I like Houston over St. Mary's. That's not a contrast of style, but the same exact style, basically. And I like the shot makers of Houston. And then we're going to go Florida over Nebraska.
Yep.
Houston over Illinois. Ooh, that's a close one. Yeah, Houston over Illinois. And then we'll get that rematch in the South Regional Final. And like Ian said, I agree. I think the Cougs are winning it this time around. I think Kingston Flemings is the difference maker, PJ. This team last year in Houston was a top 10 three-point shooting team. That was the elevation, I thought, to play in the national championship game as opposed to offenses in years past under Kelvin Sampson. I think they have added the addition with the return of Milos Uzan, Emmanuel Sharp, JoJo Tugler down low. But Kingston Flemings is a lottery pick guard who is going to have great success in the NBA. That's the difference. Give me Houston over Florida.
Love it. All right. So we got Duke and Houston so far, 2 of Ben's final 4 picks. Let's go to the Midwest region. I assume you have Michigan beating the winner of UMBC Howard, which will draw a lot of interest in my neck of the woods with Baltimore against DC, which would be pretty cool. But I'm guessing you're going with Go Blue.
UMBC is a 16 seed, PJ. Their first appearance for the
know,
Dogs
right?
since 2018.
Dangerous.
You don't say. Better be a little bit scared, Dusty May. But yeah, I'll take Michigan.
Yeah. What else you got?
Ooh, St. Louis and Georgia. I love the pace of Mike White and the Dogs, but I can't pick against Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila. Give me SLU.
Okay. SLU it is.
I've already said this is probably going to be my portion of the bracket, the region of which I have the most upsets. We're going to take Akron over Texas Tech. Ooh.
Yep.
Listen, it's an early 12.5-point spread, TJ, in favor of the Tide. I think Alabama is going to win the game. I think Hofstra covers that number. So give me Alabama, but Hofstra keeps it close. Yeah, we've been living and riding and dying with Miami all year long. Miami wins in the first 4 in Dayton, knocking off SMU. They still got a little bit of rust to shake off with PJ Edwards. And you know what, PJ? the Red Hawks win on the round of 64
What?
and take out
No.
Rick Barnes and the Volunteers. That is probably not going to happen, but that's what I want to happen. So that's why we're selecting it there.
Nice.
Virginia in a close one, 17.5-point favorite against Wright State, the champions of the Horizon League. I think that's going to be a little bit closer than we expect, but I'll take Virginia.
Okay.
Then give me Santa Clara over Kentucky, Iowa State over Tennessee State, and then we can move back to the top half of the Midwest if you want. Here we go. Michigan against.
Slew.
Yeah, give me Michigan. Good game, though. Good game. Akron, Alabama. I picked the Zips to get to the Sweet 16 last year because I just love the way that John Gross and company play basketball. Is Akron going to beat Alabama? It'd be such a high-scoring game. Yeah, give me Akron.
Ooh, okay.
Come on. Got to have some fun with it.
Why not?
Miami, Ohio against Virginia. Man. I don't even. Let's go with UVA. I'll be smart here.
Okay.
I'll be smart here. I don't even. I'm not going to say this when I just filled out the bracket. I don't even think Miami really wins in the round of 64, but I want that to happen, so that's where it is. So we'll stop there. Santa Clara and Iowa State. Give me the Clones. Really great game in the second round.
Love it.
Okay. And then
Sweet 16.
Michigan, Akron. Michigan gets the Elite Eight. I think that's going to be back in the United Center, if I'm not mistaken.
I was just going to say the Midwest region's back in Chicago, so they'll have some familiarity, which definitely helps them. And then Virginia, Iowa. What a Sweet 16 game that would be.
Iowa State beats Virginia, and then
Michigan, Iowa State. So what do we got?
Awesome game. Give me the Maize and Blue to reach the Final Four.
All right, Duke, Houston, Michigan for Ben. One more region to go. The West with Arizona's region. I think I know who you're picking in this region, but I'm excited to see who you like in all these individual games. We got Zona over LIU. What are you doing, Villanova, Utah State?
Just shout out Rod Strickland and Fins up for a second. Won 4 games in his first year there in Brooklyn. Now has led them to the NCAA tournament. Villanova, Utah State, we're taking the Aggies and Jared Calhoun. I love the way they construct things. I love how efficient they are offensively. Give me Utah State, the 9 seed, over the 8 seed in Nova.
All right. And then keep rolling through. What else do you like?
All right. Wisconsin beats High Point. That's going to be an awesome game. Hawaii keeps it close against Arkansas, but I'll take the Razorbacks. Aaron Gannott and this Bows team, PJ, really good defensively. Really good defensively. They're going to have to slow down Arkansas, who plays fast. Hawaii likes to play fast as well, but they're still very efficient on the defensive side of the floor. What's the 11? It's NC State, Texas takes the winner of BYU.
Correct.
All right. So I said, we have talked about this. The first 4 introduced in 2011, just twice has a team from the first 4 not won a game in the round of 64. I picked Miami to do just that, but I really think this is where it happens. NC State beats Texas and Dayton. The Pack and Will Wade beat BYU in the round of 64.
Okay. I like that.
We'll go Gonzaga over Kennesaw State. Man, I love Miami, but Missouri playing in St. Louis. Miami's a 2.5-point favorite. I feel like if that was a true neutral, like in Portland, Miami be a 4.5, 5.5-point favorite. Oh man, I'm going to go with the Canes. I really like what Jay Lucas has done in year number 1. So give me Miami, but that's going to be an awesome game, just atmosphere and environment. And then Purdue beats Queens. All right. Arizona just keeps marching. Good game against Utah State. They keep going though.
Yep.
I like Wisconsin over Arkansas. Again, PJ, that game will be a bet to the over, regardless basically of what the number is.
Yep.
We got NC State over BYU. We'll go Gonzaga as the 3 seed.
Yep.
Purdue gets the best of Miami.
Okay.
And then Arizona beats Wisconsin. Man, this is getting real chalky. Stevens. But we'll talk about why I think we see chalk here in just a little bit. Got a national championship ticket on Purdue at 13-1, bet in April of 2025, 11 months ago. Do I think it has life to get to the Elite 8 if Braden Smith plays the way he did in the Big Ten tournament? If Oscar Clough continues to deliver, Purdue beats Gonzaga.
Okay.
So that's a 1 versus 2 there again. And then, yes, Arizona I have as the champions out of the West region.
All right, then. 3 1 seeds, and we got Houston. Duke, Houston, Michigan, Arizona, your final 4. we would get a rematch of last year's regional or last year's Final Four semifinal. Duke, Houston, who'd you like in that game?
Who do I like in that game, PJ? What a great question. Houston. No, I can't have all Big 12. I can't have all Big 12. But it's going to be an all Big 12 final between Houston and Arizona. Yeah, go Houston. Go Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, we'll go Houston. Arizona. I think at a certain point, depending on when Caleb Foster gets back, that's going to be really important for the Blue Devils. And I have Arizona cutting down the nets on Monday, April 7th, I believe, in Indianapolis as the national champions. Arizona is going to win the Natty. All right, first plus bracket. What do you think, PJ?
All right, our guy Nick Ashew's taking a picture of your bracket there. I'll fill mine in a second. I like it. I mean, I know, Ben, it's tough, right? Like you want to pick upsets, but you're also just like, at what point am I just picking upsets to pick upsets? And do I like actually think this stuff is going to happen?
Right.
I respect how you are rolling with the MAC. Akron Sweet 16,
Come on, man.
Miami of Ohio to win a game. Love that. I mean, you are Big Ten, Ben, and you are rolling with the Big Ten. I'll give you that. You got Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan in the Elite Eight. Mine's probably going to be a little different. It's hard to argue with that Final Four, though. I mean, Duke, Michigan, Arizona, we've all said it, 3 best teams just about all year. Houston, I like them a lot at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to be such a tough out in March Madness as well. I like the bracket, Ben. So you got Houston, Arizona winning it all. All right, mine will be, I also got Duke over Siena.
Okay.
I also have TCU over Ohio State.
Buckeyes 2.5-point favorite early, PJ, for that game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, love TCU with the points there. St. John's, I'm going to be on them against Northern Iowa. That is going to be a tough game. I think St. John's guards, though, are gonna give UNI some trouble, so I'll take them. I don't think many people are going to take Cal Baptist just because, like, it's such a weird name, you know, Ben, that, like, not a lot of people are used to. It kind of makes me want to take them to beat Kansas. I can't do it. I can't.
Listen, I'm telling you, I have Kansas in the Sweet 16. Whatever I think people do with KU in this NCAA tournament, I think is going to be the wrong decision. There's a chance they could win the East. There's a chance they could beat Duke in the Sweet 16. I'm being dead serious.
I think that's fair. I'm going to take Brian Hodgson in USF against Louisville. That's my guy when he was coaching at Bama. I like that call. I'll take Izzo and Michigan State as well. UCLA and UCF is going to be some game. UCF, I thought, had potential like sleeper vibes in them. I love famous folks. Riley Kugel's really good. This is the first time Johnny Dawkins' team is back in the tournament since that famous Zion or since that famous Aubrey Dawkins tip-in that didn't go. I'll take UCF to beat UCLA. That should be a really good game, though.
Yeah,
and then
really good game.
I love Furman as a 15, but I can't do it over Hurley. I can't do it over UConn. So
that's gonna be a fun game, PJ. That's gonna be a really fun game. What is the initial spread? Let me see if I can find real quick what that number is. 20.5 in favor of the Huskies.
Oof, 20. Yeah, I think I like Furman with the points there.
I think I like the Dins to cover that number. Started to play their bet. They were the 6th seed, I think, in the SoCon tournament. I think, though, Furman playing its best basketball now. I really like what Furman can do come the NCAA tournament, confuse and confound things a little bit for a UConn team that, as we saw, PJ, on that Saturday night in MSG in the Big East tournament title game, when things are not rolling fluidly for UConn offensively, things can get a little bit dangerous. And Furman has the offensive firepower, I think, to stay with UConn, maybe even make Connecticut play from behind for just brief moments of the first half. I think Furman covers that number.
I love it. All right, Ben. This is where we get nuts. Give me TCU over Duke. I'm doing it.
Whoa.
I'm taking TCU. This team lost to Michigan by 4 on a neutral. They beat Wisconsin by double digits. They also beat Florida. They play up to the level of their competition. This is the kind of giant slayer that you're looking for, right? This is the kind of team that can play with the big boys. And I think without Caleb Foster, this is the kind of game where Duke can get into trouble, right? Everybody's going to love Duke. They probably do beat TCU. But, Ben, you know how you win bracket pools is you do dumb crap like this and it works out.
Crazy.
So I'll take TCU to beat Duke. St. John's and Kansas. I mean, again, Self and Patino, 2 of the greats.
Awesome.
I'll go with Kansas as well. I think they get by. USF and Michigan State. I'll go with South Florida over Michigan State.
Ooh.
Another team, again, I think Hodgson and his pace and his defense is going to give Michigan State some issues. So I'll take USF and an upset there. And then give me Hurley and UConn over Central Florida. I'll take UConn and USF. I'll take the Huskies in that one. I'll take UConn to be Elite Eight. And then
Old
TCU.
Big East and American battle right there. A couple of two-time conference compatriots no longer.
TCU and Kansas. Ben, I watched that entire quarterfinal game on Thursday, and TCU should have beat them, and I think they're going to beat them when they play again. So I'll take TCU in the Elite Eight, and then we'll go UConn and TCU. I don't even like this UConn team, like at all, which is so frustrating, but I just think the path and the way it works out, I think they'll get back to the Final Four. So I'll take UConn to advance out of the East region. In the South, I like the Gators to win their 116 matchup. Yep. Iowa and Clemson. Yeah, I'm with you. The under is definitely the play. That's going to be a 1 to 65 kind of game. I think I'll go with Iowa as well. I trust the combo of Sturts and McCollum to get the win there. Vandy and McNeese. Oof. That's tricky, Ben. That McNeese defense is so good, but Vandy's backcourt is really good. I love Duke Miles. I love Tyler Tanner. I'll go with Vandy to advance in that game. Troy, Nebraska. I'll roll with your Huskers as well. That's going to be a big – do we have a spread on that game yet, Ben? Do we have Nebraska and Troy? Because whatever the number is, I'm taking Troy plus the points because Nebraska will not make that easy. I'm with you on the VCU.
13.5, PJ. Huskers a 13.5-point favorite. Total is 136.
Oof.
Troy plays slow. 309th in terms of tempo, but they shoot a lot of threes. And as we said, Nebraska allows some threes. Teams only making 31.3% of their threes against this Trojans defense this year. I know Troy is slow. I don't think that game's going to be played in the 130s, though. I actually lean to the over in that initial first total that is out. A couple of totals starting to trickle in. By the way, High Point, Wisconsin, round of 64, over under PJ, 168.5.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that game is probably my favorite game of round one. So I like Nebraska to advance, even though I think Troy covers. It's going to be close. I'm with you on the VCU upset against UNC. I love that. Illinois and Penn, I think, is going to be closer than people think, but I'll take the Illini there. I'm with you on St. Mary's. Ben, usually when you get a super slow team versus super fast team, I'm always inclined to side with the super slow team this time of the year. So I'll take the Gales, and then I'll also take Houston as well. Florida in the round of 32 going against Iowa. I'll take the Gators in that one. Vandy and Nebraska. I'll go with Vandy. I'll go with an SEC Sweet 16 matchup up there. I think VCU is going to beat Illinois, Ben. I do not like this Illinois team. They are dead last in the country in turnovers forced per game. Dead last. So they don't create any extra possessions. And when you're a high seed going up against a team as good as VCU, I think that could be trouble. I'll take VCU over Illinois and then give me Houston over St. Mary's. I'll take Florida to win the rematch over Vanderbilt. And then VCU and Houston, I'll take the Cougs. Then we are aligned on Houston advancing to the Final Four. So right now I got two seeds in the Final Four with UConn and Houston. I hate my UConn pick, though. That doesn't sit right with me. Really don't like that.
TCU bungled your mind there, PJ. TCU got you going with a UConn team that you don't really want to go with.
There you go. The good vibes then. I got Tony sitting next to me as a UConn fan. We'll take Michigan as much as it pains me, and I would love nothing more, Ben, than to see UMBC do it again. I'll take Michigan. St. Louis and Georgia. Yeah, that's going to be – what's the do we have a total in that game? That's got to be close to 170 also if we have a total there.
Let's find it for you. 171.5, PJ. Good odds making out of you.
Yeah.
2.5 point spread in favor of UGA.
Yeah, Ben, and that's one of those I would not take the under in that game. I'll go with Georgia, though. I'll take Georgia to advance over SLU. Texas Tech and Akron. I think it's going to be a popular 5-12, Ben, because of the injuries that Texas Tech has. I trust Grant McCaslin, and I trust Christian Anderson, who is going to play, he said, in the tournament. So I'll take Texas Tech. There's no way I can go against my Tide. I'll roll with Bama in that game. Nate Oates has been awesome. He is great against mid-major teams. So even though I have a lot of respect for Hofstra, I think they're really good. I think Bama gets through. I want to pick Miami of Ohio so bad, Ben. I really do. I can't take Tennessee. Just think they're going to beat them up. I'll take the Vols. Virginia and Wright State. Give me Ryan Odom and company there. Kentucky and Santa Clara, Ben, I am with you. Do we have a spread on that game? Because I will be all over the Broncos spread and money line in that game. I'm hoping it's like a 5.5, 6.5 number.
3.5 point number in favor of the Cats. Already juiced to Santa Clara if you want to take the dog, minus 118. Plus 118 money line on Herb Sendek and his Broncos. 161.5 is that total. I love what Santa Clara can do. They take care of the basketball as well, PJ. They earn extra possessions. I love Santa Clara in that spot.
Absolutely love it. And then I will take Iowa State over Tennessee State, although Nolan Smith's team, I think, could maybe keep it close within the numbers. So I'll take Iowa State in that game. Michigan and Georgia in the round of 32. Give me go blue in that game. Texas Tech and Bama. I think Bama will advance in that game, although that'll be close. I might actually take Texas Tech in that game. We'll see. That could be a late change, but I'll go with Bama for now. Virginia and Tennessee. I'll take UVA in that game. And then Santa Clara and Iowa State. I'll also go with Iowa State. Bama and Michigan. Ben, I've watched Bama all year. They struggle with teams that have terrific front courts. Here's Michigan with maybe the best in the country. So that's a nightmare matchup. I think they'll lose that one. Virginia, Iowa State. Ooh. Do I want to do it with Ryan Odom? I think I do. I'll take Virginia. I'll take Virginia. Yes. Over Iowa State. I'm banking on that being the game where Iowa State scores 55 points and they go home. So I'll take Virginia in that one. And I'm with you. I think Michigan goes to the Final Four. So Michigan, UConn, and Houston so far for me. And then we'll take Arizona in the first round there. Villanova and Utah State. I'll also go with Utah State. We got Wisconsin at a High Point. When we were talking with Ian, talked about, that was one of my favorite upsets. Everybody, Ben, people have been talking about it for the last few days. Wisconsin's upside is Final Four. They could also lose in the first round. I think that's a terrible matchup. High Point scores in the 80s, and they also force a bunch of turnovers, which I think is a bad matchup for the Badgers. So I'll take High Point there in that one. Arkansas, just too much trust in Acuff to find a way for them to win that game. So I'll take Arkansas there. I like your thought process with taking the winner of the play-in against BYU. I'm going to say it's Texas, but
that's fair.
I agree. The winner of that game, I think, does beat the Bansa and the Cougs. Give me the Zags over Kennesaw. Miami, I also agree. I'll take them over Missouri, and I'll take Purdue in that game as well. So we got Arizona versus Utah State. I'll take Zona in that matchup. Arkansas and High Point. I'll take Arkansas there. Texas and Gonzaga. I'll go with the Zags. And then Purdue and Miami. I will go with Purdue. All right, so Zona and Arkansas. That'd be some kind of Sweet 16 game. Tommy Lloyd as a head coach has never been past the Sweet 16, but I think that changes. So I'll take Zona in that game. And then, Ben, give me Gonzaga over Purdue, which should be an awesome game. The only reason I'm taking Gonzaga is because I want the Tommy Lloyd, Mark Few storyline. And I think we get it. It's only fitting that if Tommy Lloyd wins his first title, he goes through the boss, right? So I'll take Arizona there. And then I think Tommy beats the boss, goes to the Final Four. So my Final Four is going to be UConn, Houston, Arizona, and Michigan. I'm with you. I'll have Houston. So, Ben, we get the same national title and the same champion. What could go wrong?
Wow. Look at that. That is symbiotic.
Right. There we go.
Here on GameDay Garage.
Look at that. All filled
out. Well done,
out.
by the way. Good handwriting. Really well filled out, I think.
You know, I'm glad that we had some different color markers. It worked out great. That was good. I'm excited. Can I tell you, I don't think I'm really going to make too many changes to my bracket. The question is, for TCU, do I pick something like that in a bracket pool or do I just bet it? right? Like, do I just bet them to make the Sweet 16? Do I just bet them to make the Elite Eight? Or do I just put that in a bracket? I think I probably just put it in a bracket, right? Because not many people are going to have that.
But if you're putting it in a bracket, TCU at whatever plus money price comes out to reach the round of 16 in the second weekend is a good area. PJ, just to the points of both of our brackets, where you see a lot of 1s and 2s deep into the tournament in the Elite Eight and the Final Four. Yes, for just the second time ever a season ago, did we see all 4 1 seeds reach the Final Four. 2008, 2025. That's it since seeding began in 1979. But it should be noted that now, after the 2025 Big Dance, 66 times has a 1 seed reached the Final Four as compared to 58 combined times for seeds 4 through 16. The cream always rises to the top. So pick your upsets early, maybe make a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 run with a double-digit seed. We have seen a double-digit seed see the second weekend every single tournament now for 17 consecutive years. It was Arkansas, the only one to do so a season ago, but always know the cream rises to the top. And PJ, I'll finish with this on why I think it could be potentially a little bit chalky once again. And I think 2025 is going to serve as an inflection point in college basketball. Are we seeing a distinction between not just high major and mid major, but even the best of the best at the high major level? 6 to 8 teams that are really the supreme elite programs in the country based on talent assortment, NIL, in this new era of college hoops. In the last decade, I went back and looked at the pre-NCAA tournament data on KenPom. In the last decade, only 3 seasons did we see 10 teams with a net rating of plus 25 or better on Selection Sunday. The most a season ago with 14. And as we shared, all 4 1 seeds, 3 2 seeds, and a 3 seed. The lowest seed total, 13, when you add up all of those since 2007. You know how many teams that we have with a plus 25 net rating or better, PJ, on this Selection Sunday on KenPom?
I'm going to say we got 13.
20. We have 20 teams here in 2025-26 with a KenPom net rating of plus 25 or better. There are really, really good teams at the highest levels of this sport. And that is why I think it goes a little bit chalky once again. Now, I hope we have more opening round upsets and those stories that at least continue into the second weekend. They get their publicity throughout the week once the round of 32 closes on a Sunday until the Sweet 16 begins on that following Thursday. Last year was the first time since 2007 we did not see any of the top 16 teams on the top 4 lines of the bracket lose in the round of 64. I am not hoping that is the case this year, but I would just remind everybody that if it looks chalky, that actually might be okay based on what we are learning, at least from the metrics. It's just a 1-year sample size. It's why I think this big dance in 2026 serves as a very big learning curve, perhaps, for what college basketball is and could be by the time we get to March Madness.
A lot of good stuff there, Ben. A lot of good info. I'm scrolling through my phone now because all these lines are dropping. So before we kind of wrap up here, I just want to throw out some of my favorite bets for round 1. I'm definitely going to be on Santa Clara. I'm going to bet that now, actually, since we're getting over the full possession at 3.5. I think they win that game outright. Ben, that's the kind of tournament game that you and I live for, right? When one of those little guys get a shot against one of the big boys and Santa Clara can play with them and they're not going to be afraid. This Kentucky team, I really haven't been too impressed with. And I think Santa Clara is going to beat them. So I like them in that game. Certainly Troy, 13.5. I mean, I'll be pulling for Nebraska. I hope they get it done. But again, folks, they've never won an NCAA tournament game ever. They've never won one.
Never.
So I don't think it's going to be easy. Like, I don't think Nebraska is going to win by 15, 20 points. I think if they win, it's probably going to be by 4 or 5. So I'll take Troy in that game. Love High Point plus 11.5 against Wisconsin. I like them on the money line in that game as well. TCU's a dog to Ohio State. I mean, I got them beating Duke, so I'll be on them in that game. St. Mary's a small favorite against A&M minus 2.5. The total is 147.5, Ben. So I think the fact the total is that low, certainly that would be a Gales type number. I think they're the right side in that game. So I would lean towards St. Mary's. And those are the games that are sticking out right now. But I'd say as of this moment, my favorites are TCU, Troy, Santa Clara, and High Point. Those 4 are the ones sticking out as of right now. How about for you? What are some of your best bets currently that are sticking out?
Again, on first glance, I think my two favorite bets for the round of 64, Louisville, South Florida over 163.5. I do think we see a ton of points between Wisconsin and High Point, but they're making you pay the premium at 168 and a hook. I like the number between the Bulls and the Cardinals. I'll go over 163.5 for an awesome round of 64 game. I think Brian Hodgson and USF pull off the upset. And then PJ, the other one is VCU plus 2.5 or money line against North Carolina. Phil Martelli Jr. and his Rams, elite on both sides of the basketball, incredibly efficient. I think they will make things difficult for North Carolina if UNC starts to rely on that three-point shot. So give me VCU plus 2.5, USF Louisville over 163 and a hook.
Ben, what's going to be the region that keeps you up at night? You know, that East region with TCU and UConn. I'll be having fits. That'll be giving me the cold sweats at night. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. The rest of the regions, I feel pretty decent about, like initial gut thoughts. You know, there's some tricky matchups here and there. I feel pretty good though about who I like to advance to the Final Four out of those regions. But what's the region for you that right now you're struggling with the most?
Yeah, I think maybe the Midwest, just because I look at a lot of those teams and think to myself, ooh, I would like a lot of those double-digit seeds out of the Midwest region to make some runs, especially bottom half of the bracket. Santa Clara, I don't believe in Virginia all that much. What does Hofstra give for Alabama? Akron against Texas Tech. I would love to see SLU make a run. Ultimately, I believe Michigan wins the Midwest region and advances to the Final Four. Again, those games are played, confirmed, PJ, as you said, in Chicago, inside the United Center, a familiar spot for the Maize and Blue where they have been the previous few days in the Big Ten tournament as well. So, it's the 6th, by the way. I said April 7th earlier. April 6th, that Monday night for the national championship game, as I'm getting all of my dates out here. But I think the Midwest outside of the East, just because of how many premier programs and great head coaches we have in that portion of the bracket, for me, I think it's the Midwest because I want to see a lot of those double-digit seeds prevail. But if last year is last year and I'm thinking we see a lot of that same chalk this year, I could fear for some of those double-digit seed picks that I make.
Absolutely love it. Ben, this was a ton of fun, man. Loved filling out the bracket, going game by game, getting the bracket in real time and filling it out. We'll obviously have more content over the next couple of days. We'll have a live stream coming up during one of the first 2 days of the tournament as well. So make sure you stick around for that on GameDay Garage. Make sure you're following all the GameDay Garage social channels. For Ben Stevens, you can follow him on X at Ben Scott Stevens. I'm PJ Glasser at PJ Glasser9. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the Selection Sunday special, and happy March Madness. We'll talk to you again soon.